Chapter 13. Melody had never been so furious for so long in her entire life. Not only had JR neglected to bring Zena and Catherine the morning he was going to drop them off at the Lost Children office, but he had ignored every single call she had made. Plus, he had been avoiding her ever since. 3 times she had gone over there, and he refused to answer the door. Not only was he selfish, he was a coward. She growled as she shoved mason jars into a bag for one of her customers. That JR. When she saw him next, he was dead. Melody? What? Melody snarled at Betton Darson, a possum and one of her dear friends. You're cracking the jars. Betton pulled a jar out of the bag. It had a long white crack down the side. Sorry, Bet. Melody handed her another to replace it. What's got your tail in the knot? Betton handed Melody a bill. Never mind the bag and I'll do it. Ugh, it's JR. Melody pounded the button on the cash register. He's been avoiding me for 4 days now. Oh. Benton bagged the rest of her jars. Speaking of JR, have you heard what people are saying about him? They say he's... I don't want to hear anything about him. Melody held up her hand. I am so mad at him I could spit. You'll make up soon. Benton scooped up her bag. It's the sort of relationship you have. Not this time. Melody handed Benton her change. What he did was unforgivable. We'll see. Benton turned to leave. Beak of the devil. Hey, JR. Morning, Bet. JR held the door open for her. You're looking scrumptious today. Benton waved her hand in front of her face. Ooh, you're going to make my husband jealous. He better be. JR gave her a toothy grin. I'm going to get you one of these days. He clapped his teeth together. You're so bad, JR. My, I better go before I start getting impure thoughts. Benton fanned herself and muttered, Andrew's right. How can anyone be so evil and hot at the same time? Melody rolled her eyes. Benton couldn't whisper if her life depended on it. Bye, Melody. Benton halted mid-sentence, her eyes drifting downward on something behind JR. Oh, what? Don't bother. JR waved her off. Melody didn't get a chance to see what stopped Benton's stream of gossip and banter. As soon as JR looked at her, she turned her back on him. What's wrong with you, Mel? You've got on a face like sour milk. As if you don't know. You're not mad I didn't return your calls, are you? JR rolled his eyes. Didn't know you were so clingy. Well, hello there, little ones, Benton said, her voice carrying over Melody's rage. What you following JR around for? Where are your parents? Silence fell for a moment before a small, clear, high-pitched voice yelled, Stranger! 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 Melody swung around. Zena stood at the door to the grocery store, holding Catherine's hand as she toddled along. Zena was pointing at Benton and continued yelling like a siren, Stranger! 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 Benton, for her part, kept trying to hush Zena, even as everyone in the store stared and snickered. Knock it off, kid. JR leaned down the counter. She ain't no stranger. Oh, okay. Zena smiled at Benton. Sorry, miss. Hi, Miss Melody. Zena? Melody rushed from behind the counter. What are you doing here? Hi, baby. She picked up Catherine. Aw, you smell so nice today. We took a bath. Zena swayed back and forth, her fur catching the light. I see. Your fur looks so shiny and clean. Melody sighed. Why is it that kids have the best fur? Look at how beautiful it is. Can't get my fur that shiny no matter what beauty products I use. JR shrugged. Benton stood at the door. Isn't anyone going to tell me what's going on? Where'd those kids come from? Melody, what's all the racket down here? Mr. Withers, a brown Manchester terrier, ambled down the stairs into the store. His ears drooped at the end, and gray speckled his fur. Quite a change from the strong dog pictured in all the family photos upstairs. Still, he was dressed in the green apron he required everyone who worked in the store to wear. Dad, you should be in bed. Melody rushed over to catch his arm and help him walk. Get off, I ain't an invalid. Mr. Wither turned his nose up at Cathro, still in Melody's arms. Who's this? This is Cathro. Melody bounced the baby. And over there is Zena. Hi, mister. Zena grinned over the counter, though she was barely tall enough to see over it. Mr. Withers bent over to look her in the eye. And why are you making so much noise? A stranger was trying to talk to me. Zena pointed to Benton still at the door. What you doing hanging around with the door half open, Bet? Mr. Withers shook his head. You weren't raised in the barn. I want to know what's going on here. You got preserving to do today, don't you? Get going, Mr. Withers sighed. You'll hear the whole story by night's end, most likely. Betton pouted. I wanted to be the first. Go on with you. Mr. Withers shooed her out. Fine. Talk to you later, Mel. Betton walked out, looking at JR through the window as she went. Mr. Withers shook her head. Got a bigger mouth than a gator. Now you two. He turned his attention to Xena. What's your story? What'd you come here for? We came to go shopping, Xena said. JR snorted through his nose. The kid's always whining about something. We need clothes. We need shoes. We need toys. Ugh. Today she's whining about groceries. Because there's never any food in the house. Xena put her hands on her hips. Sounds about right, Melody said. JR turned up his nose. I feed you, don't I? My mamai says too much fast food isn't good for you. Enough with the mamai crap. It's mommy. Say it right. JR shook his head. Never seen such a health-conscious kid before. Care to help me out, Mel? Not sure what all we need. I can do it. Xena held up a piece of paper. I made a list. A list? JR snatched it from her. Is that what you were scribbling all morning? Don't grab. Melody pulled it from his grasp. It was filled with words written in giant, uneven letters. Did you write this all by yourself? So we wouldn't forget anything. The adult's supposed to remember, but... Xena beckoned to Melody. But Mr. JR is not a very good adult, she whispered in her ear. Melody snickered. What did you say? JR said. Xena gave him a huge grin. Nothing. JR narrowed his eyes at her. Are you lying to me again? Xena's eyes grew wide. She bit her lips together, then turned to Melody. Can we go shopping now? Sure. Melody set Catherine in the cart. What's on your list? Let's see. Xena hopped on the back of the cart and looked at her list as Melody pushed. We need eggs and milk and cereal and, milk for Catherine. And we need candy and cheese and crackers. Oh, I didn't put on the peanut butter and jelly. So you like peanut butter? Melody said, making faces at the baby as she pushed. Yep, my daddy taught me how to make good peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Xena bent over backwards to look at JR. I'll make you some for lunch, okay, Mr. JR? JR raised his eyebrows. You're cooking? About time I got something out of this deal. You're a lowlife, JR, Melody said. Thank you, JR said. Melody rolled her eyes in disgust and pushed the cart to leave him behind.